Hey everyone, welcome back to 52 Licks. So I realized the other day that we'd kind of gotten away from Philly Joe. We hadn't talked about Philly Joe in a while, and it's a little bit of a travesty because he's had so much to do with the vocabulary that we use to solo with as jazz drummers. So I didn't want to get too far away from dealing with some Philly Joe. So I was checking out a Hank Mobley record he's on called Workout. And the title track Workout it has a decent amount of solo space for Philly Joe. While I was listening to that solo, I heard him play a lick that I always kind of associate with Philly Joe. I realized that might be a good one for us to touch on. So the idea or the lick itself, at least the way he played it, is based around an inverted double stroke roll. And essentially, the way he's using it on that particular track is he's playing simply as eighth notes. I'll play it about here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. And obviously, the inner notes, the in-between notes, are being played on the bass drum. Now, there's a couple of ways to stick that. I believe that the most natural way to phrase the right hand or the hands correctly is to play it one-handed. So as opposed to alternating, which I do think works, I think it's easier for me to phrase one-handed. I think part of that is because it's easier to control the space, the swung eighth notes. It's easier to control that space, mainly because we're already used to doing that with either hand. It's a little easier to get that exactly right and get the phrasing of it correct. However, you can try alternating. Sometimes it works well to alternate. So just that phrase, you can spend a while moving around the kit. I think the key there is to make sure that you're actually aiming for the downbeat, and that you don't let the bass drum get too loud, and you actually don't let the anticipation, which in this case is the first stroke, you don't let that anticipation get too loud. So now he not only does it in that fashion where he kind of extends it, we can actually look at a shorter section or a shorter phrase from that solo where he basically plays the first four notes, which is right 1 and 2 and if you just stop there, that actually works well. He plays some sort of phrase to get into it, something like, and then it goes on to solo. And I realized that's actually just the very beginning of the inverted double. So to me, and that's a nice way to sneak in the bass drum if you've been playing a lot of hand stuff. So in there, just while I was playing a bunch of hand stuff, when I got to a downbeat, I could sneak in that bass drum and then come back out on the and a 2. It's got a nice little swing to it. So outside of the way he used it there, which is obviously with the bass drum playing the inner notes, he also, and a lot of other drummers, he also used it where he, instead of playing the inner notes on the bass drum, he just played them in the left hand. Then it's just completely a hands thing, and it's just an inverted double stroke. It's just got a little swing to it. That works great, and if you like to use it when he's playing fast, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So in that fashion, it's very easy. I mean, if you've got your double strokes excuse me, together, and you've ever practiced the inverted double, if you haven't, you should. It's a great one to throw in there. Try dropping in the bass drum as the inner notes, or the left hand as the inner notes. Try just doing what I did, which is to play a string of them. After that gets comfortable, break it up. Just as a single phrase, right? I like to do that and put one little rest in between so it becomes our good old 3-beat phrase, right? 1 and 2 and 3, rest. Also, one of the ways that guys use it is they'll close off the inverted double with some stick on stick. So if I just took the first couple of strokes, if I ended with a stick on stick, I'd play right, left, and then I'd mute into the drum for the last 2 rights. Different ideas come from the concept of the inverted double. So give that one a shot. I like having the ability to play something like that. Any of these kind of rudimental ideas like the paradiddle or the paradiddle-diddle. I like to feel like I can play a very long phrase of it. So if I'm playing fast, I could play a 4 or 8 bar phrase where I can just kind of move that around. But I also think it's important to chop that up and have shorter little phrases where you can just kind of drop it in the middle of something. It's kind of how Philly Joe did it on that workout solo when he's using it with the bass drum. Early on in the solo, he'll play that phrase where he'll just play the first couple, and then play some other stuff. Then later on, he plays the longer version. So try to do the longer version, the shorter version. Outside of the ones I just showed you that were partly from Philly and part from other people and partly from me just messing around with that phrase. Now, after you get that down, then try to find your own little versions of that phrase. Stretch out the length, and also try to connect it to other material that you know, like play other material and get into the inverted double, and then play the inverted double and then get into another phrase. For example, I can link the inverted double with that little Miles lick we worked on. So there, I took 2 of them, make sure I can put them together. All right, good luck with the inverted double. Check out some more Philly Joe.